recording, and I'm going to share my screen. And we are going to use Pear Deck throughout this training. So if you guys want to go ahead and log into Pear Deck, you go to joinpd.com and then you put in that code. Just let us know when you're set, and then we're going to get going. Okay.
Woohoo, we have a student connected.
2. Okay. Can I start that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is our very first Tech Whiz Workshop, and we're very excited. Rihanna and I, as former English teachers, love alliteration. So this is making the most of modules in Canvas, and we hope it'll be valuable to you. Real quick, who we are, I think you guys know now. These are our emails and phone numbers, and we'll have that again at the end. And you want to go?
Yeah. First interaction here, you should see a little pair on your screen to drag to where you feel you are at in your use of Canvas modules. Are you a meek beginning module user? Moderate, maybe you've started making a module but don't really know how to utilize organization yet. Meticulous, getting better. You've got text headers, organization. Master module user, maybe you know how to add emojis and organize and text headers and make prerequisites and all of that. So drag your pair to where you feel you most fit in right now. This will help guide our presentation today as well.
And your pair doesn't say your name, so don't be embarrassed. Stephanie, I know you're a meek module user.
I like the alliteration, the continuation of the alliteration.
Yeah,
So it should tell us if they've moved, but we don't. There we go.
Oh,
thank you. There we go.
I
So now I show responses.
over here. Okay.
Awesome.
Oh,
good.
Nice job. Okay, so this is a perfect training for us.
Yeah, so that we've got it. We can go if we're going too fast. So we'll keep it at the moderate and above level. But if at any time we go too fast or too slow, just let us know in the chat box, and we'll sit on something a little bit longer.
Okay.
Next slide. So our agenda today is in making the most of modules. We're going to focus on creating and sharing modules, which creating, none of you said meek module user, so you probably know how to create, but we'll show you a couple elements in that with sharing when we get to that part. We'll show you some cool ways to organize your modules and then spend some time on what prerequisites and requirements in modules do for you. And throughout this training, we will have time at the end to give you time to practice. So just know we're going to show you everything first, and then you'll get some time to practice in your own Canvas course.
Okay. So the thing we love most about modules is that they help everyone stay organized. And in this course today, we're going to show you how to arrange content so that your students and you are organized, how to create new pages, assignments, discussions, quizzes, and other things, and how to use the module as a resource for your students and to guide your students through learning with the previous and next buttons and the requirements and prerequisites. So we're going to do a quick little demo. And so we made a fake class called Tech Whiz Workshop. And so the very first thing I wanted to show you, and I think you guys probably all know this, but I'm just going to do a quick review. And Noreen, I know you're training your teachers tomorrow, so maybe this will be good practice for you too. We go up here to the plus module button, and you can give your module a name. So we're just going to call this one practice module. And I can lock it if I want to. And we're going to talk about that and the prerequisites later on in the class. But so once I add it, you'll notice it's not there. But where is it? Who can tell me?
At the bottom.
At the bottom, right. So we go all the way to the bottom. And you can click the 3 little dots, and then you can click Move Module, and it'll give you the option to take it to the top the bottom or wherever you want to move it to. So we're going to send it to the top and oops, move. And there it is. Now, one of the things that we wanted to just emphasize today is that the best practice for using modules is to build your course through the modules. So rather than creating an assignment over in assignments, we are suggesting that people use this plus button. And from the plus button, you can see that you can add assignments, quizzes, all kinds of different things. So one of the things that we like to add is a text header. And the text headers are great ways to organize material. So I'm going to call this text header, I'll just call this one Monday. And I'm not going to indent it, and I'm going to add it. So this is not an assignment or anything the students will work on. It's just a way to help organize your modules. And then if I wanted to add an assignment underneath it, I would click on the down arrow and I could choose assignment. Now, these are all the assignments that I have in my assignments section of Canvas, but I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to click create assignments. And here, this is just going to be my new assignment. And I want that to be indented to level so that it'll stand out in my organization because it'll look kind of like an outline. And when I add it, you'll see it's indented. We know it's an assignment because it's got the little pencil and paper. If it was a quiz, it would have a rocket ship. And you'll see examples of all of that. And then I can click in the new assignment and edit it. I could also add a discussion if I wanted to. These are some discussions that are already in the course. So those are just the ways to add items to your course. The other thing that you want to be able to know about is how to share your modules. So one of the things we love about Canvas is it really helps teachers to collaborate. And a lot of our teachers are using a sandbox class that they have everyone in their grade levels in the sandbox, or everyone in their departments in the sandbox, and they create modules there, and then they share them to their own courses. And so to do that, at the top of the module, you go back to the three little dots, and you can send it or copy it. So we're going to show you both of those. To send it, that's sending it through Canvas. So I'm going to share this with Rihanna. Whoops, our lights go out. Our lights go out if we don't move enough. I'm going to type her email in. Oops, sorry. I think I know how to spell it now. And she pops up, and I click it, and then I just send it to her. And when she gets it, she's going to see in her little account icon up here, see my little face? When you click in there, you can scroll down, and then there's shared content. And the shared content, this is everything that's been shared with me. And I can look at the things that are shared with me by clicking the three dots. I can preview them. I can import them into my course, or I can say, I don't like this. I'm just going to get rid of it. So that's something that is good to know, that you can share it that way through Canvas. Sometimes you're going to be sharing it with your own course, and it seems silly to mail it to yourself. So in that case, you're going to do the three dots, and you're going to copy it to a different course. Now, I'm going to freak you out when I start this down arrow because I have 10,000 courses because I'm in everybody's course. But you each are going to click this down arrow and just see your courses, not all these courses. The other thing you can do is you can type the name of your course. So if I did English 1, it might come up, although I think I have every English 1 in the whole district in there, so never mind. But I want to show you one other trick. Let's suppose that Noreen was going to send this module to Ashley at a different school. I'm going to go into my sandbox. Let's just pretend it's Ashley's sandbox. At the top in the URL bar, and I don't know if I can make this bigger for you guys to see. It's making the screen bigger. It doesn't make the URL, but sorry. There's 5 numbers in every Canvas course. So this one is 20879. I'm going to just copy those numbers, and then I'm going to go back to my modules where I said copy to, and I'm going to look at that face. She learned something. In that, and it tells me the name of the class, Julia DeWeese's Sandbox. So if I had Ashley's course and I put those 5 numbers from Ashley in there, it would say Ashley Reyes's course. And then I just select, yep, that's where I want to send it. And I copy it there and it just goes. So you can do that with a module. You can also do that with a specific assignment. You can do the same thing, copy to. So those 5 numbers, I think they're always 5 numbers, are your course number. And that's one way if you don't know the exact name of the course you want to copy it to. So that's something to let you know about. And I think that's it for the first section. Any questions about what we've done so far? Okay.
Each of these, they're sent as a copy, correct? So it's
Yes.
So when you send it or you email it, it's not going to be like a Google Doc where everyone can edit and then it changes the master, right?
That's right. You're right, Ashley. It's just a copy of. So that's, in fact, it says copy to, and it shows little copy. And if you send it to them, it's the same. You're sending them a copy. They're not going to be able to collaborate on it. So great question. We should remember to say that next time.
Yeah.
Okay, good. You guys are our guinea pig class. All right. So I'm going to go back to our session and go to the next. And this is Rihanna's turn.
Hi. So thank you, Julia. So you learned how to create and share modules. So now we're going to look at how to organize your modules. And there are a few different ways you can do that. And the main ways we've seen teachers be successful with organizing modules is by organizing them by week, or by a unit or chapter, or by theme. I know elementary sometimes will have a butterfly unit or theme where you do math, science, or a novel, or in middle school a novel. But that might be why you would use theme. So we'll show you some examples of these different types of organization. Modules are really useful not just for organizing your curriculum. I wanted to show you very quickly that at the top here we have student resources. Now, this is a great place to put some common resources you want your students to always have access to. For example, here I put the school calendar. For secondary, we use MLA format. So for 4th and 5th, if you start MLA format, that might be an example of something you'd want always at the top of your modules for your students to refer back to, sort of like a very visible file section for them. And every once in a while, I use announcements, but every once in a while, I'll put something like daily supplies needed or a temporary announcement, just so it's at the top of their modules when they go to see their work. I don't want them to forget to bring their graph paper tomorrow or protractor, so things like that. So that's one way you can organize modules, is by creating a little resource for your students. When you get to the curriculum, we have a few different ways you can organize. So the first way is by week. And you can date, I didn't add dates here, but you could have week 1, week 2, week 3. And then underneath, you could have text headers. Julia just showed you how to make a text header. And you can make those text headers say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with the exact date that the students are doing the work. This is really helpful for parents and students as well, because if they were absent September 15th, they can look through the modules and see what exactly the class did that day and what they missed. And so that's one way to organize. You'll notice I over-emoted on this module. So you might not want all these emojis in one module, but I wanted to show you a few options. For example, this science unit is on water and climate. So I did a water droplet, teacher resources. That's just for you. It says do not publish. So the students do not see it because it's not published.
I forgot to say that.
That's okay. And notice my module is published, but nothing else here is. So if I want my students to see just Monday, I would just publish those, and that's all they would see. They'll only see what I published. But you could go as far as day. I have the computer. Maybe that's a virtual day. Maybe that's a day they'll know they'll be using their computers. You could have color coding for if you have red group and blue group for different reading groups, or block days for high school, things like that. So those are just a couple ways. And I just used a copy paste font. If you search, if you Google search copy paste numbers and copy paste fonts, you can find a font or numbers to use that. And then for emojis, let's see if your computer has it. Text header, if you right click, most computers have the very first option is the emoji option. A lot of people use a emoji Google extension or a free emoji keyboard. There's lots of options, but that's how I added emojis. And that's organizing by week. Do we have a question or clarification?
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
How do you get that font to look? Where do you go to get that font?
Stephanie wants that font.
Yes, I'll share. I do have the website saved. I'll send it to you. But last year, I searched copy paste fonts until I found a font that worked. And I don't know if you've ever seen the students text or do silly fonts, but I found one. So for Valentine's Day, it had hearts and stars, swirly, and it was February 14th or right around there. And so I made that my text header that day. It was a little busy for every day, but I had some fun. So I'm making a note right now. And before when it's Julia's turn, I'll put the font website in the chat box. I'll find it.
Okay, cool.
But not all of them look good. So I tried out a couple with my students and they told me which one stood out to them the most. And this one was the simplest. It spread out the words, but it divided it more than just a text header did. So those are some ways that you can make your curriculum or content stand out in different ways so your students see what you want them to see. Scrolling down, this is a more simple module, still organized by week and by day. Notice as well, everything's published except next year, allow 2 days for geography activity. You can add notes to yourself. And I used to do this all the time. Don't forget to share this, or don't forget, I didn't want to publish a link or information for students, but I wanted to make sure I remembered to say something or share something with them. So this was, again, it's not published, so they won't see it, only you will see it in Canvas.
It's kind of like the Post-its in your lesson plan book, but
Right.
those fall out and get lost. But so this is a way of having permanent notes to self.
Right, and it keeps the notes on the day where you want it, where you want to make sure you remember to say it to the students. And this one just had a simple check mark. So maybe a lot of teachers, hi, David. Thank you for joining us. You might just want one emoji using the same emoji just for tests or quizzes. So it's another way to use it. And scrolling down, this is an example of a module organized by unit, and we have it divided. This is an English unit. You could divide it into reading, writing, listening, and speaking. You could divide it by the 5 C's of your science course. But I would still recommend putting the dates for that unit to help your students stay organized. So if they think, okay, the Titanic unit, that was in November, then they can find it easily. And finally, I wanted to show you one more tip and trick for organization. I did color code. Whether you use emojis or not, you don't have to, but I found an emoji color coding I liked, and then I did like this font, and I didn't want to keep going back to that website every time to copy and paste the font. So I made an empty, unpublished module with the days of the week. So every time I wanted to make a new module, again, these 3 dots on the top right-hand side, I duplicated it. And then I would edit it, and I'd rename it week 5, or week of September 13th, and I'd redate the Monday, Tuesday, and I'd, like Julia showed you, add my assignments and quizzes and things there. So I'd highly recommend getting an organizational system and creating an empty organization shell like this, so you don't have to keep retyping it every week. David, question.
Yes, so I'm new to Canvas as an instructor. I've used it as a student previously. So every time I go to update like my week, because I do have something like this where it says week of September, whatever day from this day to this day. But then like the students, when they go to view the modules, there's no modules. I'm not sure if I'm putting it in the wrong place or.
Perfect question.
That's a great question. I would say one of 2 things. First of all, when you add a new module, remember a new module always gets added at the bottom. So you'll want to make sure that you move the module to the top.
Got you.
So that, first of all, makes whatever you just created easy for your students to see, because the newest information is always on top.
Okay.
So again, that's 3 dots, and then move module at the top. And then next, you'll notice on these modules up here, you have to publish it. They won't see anything that does not have this green check. So even with this module here, this means only this header is published, but none of the assignments are published yet. So I have to click them to publish them.
And contrary to that, if you did not have, can you unclick the top one? If you did not have that gray bar on the top, the title of the module published, but you had things in it published, the students still would not see it. So you have
because it falls into that category?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the gray box at the top, the first header, the title of the module has to be published for them to see anything in it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yes, ma'am.
last year, when everyone in the whole district was new to Canvas, David, that was the question that we answered the most.
So you guys
20
are well
times a
versed
day.
in that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't feel like you were missing something. That was a real huge learning curve
Yeah.
for all of us.
Yeah.
Right, I bet.
And,
Especially
and the
for me,
teachers are going, but I see it. It's there.
right? Exactly. I'm not sure why you guys don't see this, but it's there.
Right. So
Probably because I didn't publish it.
So if you see my screen now, you see I published student resources and I have not published science yet, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to go to, but I see it because I made it. So student view,
Student view, yeah.
you always want to check that and you'll see there's student resources, no science because I haven't published it yet.
Got you. Okay,
won't
that
see
makes a
science.
lot more sense.
Yeah. So if you're ever not sure, if you want to make sure that you do your publishing and everything right, you can always click student view. Even having used Canvas all last year, I would still do that just because sometimes I would have the opposite mistake then of over publishing. And then I'd go to student view and go, oh, I don't want them to see that
Right,
yet.
yeah.
I published too much. So
It's a little double check yourself.
yeah,
And I'm all
yeah.
about double checking and making sure that I did things correctly. So
Right. And they'll let you know. And the kids are very, very forgiving. So
Sometimes
that's
he
okay
teaches
too.
high school.
sometimes,
Or,
sometimes they can
or
be difficult.
okay, so high school, they had Canvas last year as students as well. So you can always say the teacher, pretend I don't know, right? Okay, who can show me? You know, who knows,
Yeah.
who knows the best
Can I get a
shortcut?
little help here, please? Let me see
I
if
know
you
how to do it. But
What subject do you teach, David?
I'm teaching co-taught geometry and 12th grade directed English.
okay.
Whoa, fun. Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
All right.
Any other questions or clarifications on different ways to organize your modules before we move on?
Okay.
Yes, I think I'm passing. Oh, so now just take a quick debrief here. How will you organize your modules in your classroom and why will you organize them that way?
And David, if you want to go to log into Pear Deck, you can participate. It's going to be, I forget.
joinpd.org.
And then that code that's at the top, up at the top point.
Yeah, oh, it's going to put in the chat box. Yeah.
Joinpd.org.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you said the code at the top.
Right.
The code at the top.
So it's YRDQ.
Oh, YRDQQS?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if you guys can just write your response. And Rihanna and I are modeling using Pear Deck because we are super excited that the entire district has a premium subscription to Pear Deck this year. And so we think it's a really great way to have interactive presentations. And David, I'm going to pick on high school teachers real quick. High school teachers are notorious for just showing PowerPoints or slideshows. And so this is a way to make them more interactive. And now that we have one-to-one Chromebooks in all grades, it's a great way to have your lessons be interactive so the students are engaged.
So I'm sorry, I have one more question.
Sure.
You said to, all right, so maybe I typed it in wrong. My brain is super fried. I had a couple meetings today, but I'm sorry, what was the URL to type in?
It's joinpd.org.
Joinpd.com. Wait, hold on. Well, Rihanna's going to get it.
Okay.
Sure.
And I'll put it in the chat too. Where is my chat?
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. Where? Oh, it's over here. Sorry.
Might be .com.
TV. Sorry.
Should have it memorized by now. I've used it so many times. Okay, it is joinpd.com.
Joinpd.com.
Got
Yeah.
it flipped.
Join PD.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Present. How do we
Yeah,
show
show
response?
responses.
And
By
then
theme. Yeah.
organize with week by headers.
By theme, our curriculum has themes broken up for 4 weeks at a time, which is perfect to split up the weeks in curriculum for each month. Yeah, it's
That's
nice.
your preschool, huh, Ashley? Yeah.
And it's nice to have a pattern.
Yes, it is.
Sorry, go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah, I was agreeing with you. Yeah, it's the preschool curriculum, and it's really great the way that they split it up into the themes.
Great. Okay.
And it helps parents helping their students and kids stay organized as well to find the hide responses.
Okay. Oops. And I'm going to go on to the next slide. Okay, so the next thing, and it seems like most of you know how to use modules. We're going to show you about prerequisites and requirements. Has anybody used those yet? Okay, yay, we get to show you something exciting and new. So prerequisites and requirements are built into the modules, but most people don't know about them yet. And we really like them because they allow the students to stay organized. It's a way to say they have to move through the module in a certain order and do certain things in order to progress. One of the weaknesses that we have seen is that students might get stuck and they can't get through the module if they can't do one thing. However, it also offers an opportunity, which is that you can view the student progress, and we're going to show you that as well. As middle school teachers, Rihanna and I know like every trick in the book, and when you have requirements, we know that some of the middle school kids would just turn in a blank doc in order to be able to see the next requirement. So I don't know about preschoolers, Ashley, but you upper grade elementary and high school might also try that. So we just wanted you to be aware of that. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do modules that have prerequisites. So I'm going to this module. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger so you guys can see. Oops. Okay. So when I'm in my module, you'll notice right away that it says at the top, complete all items. And I'm going to make it even bigger. You guys tell me if that helps. Is that better?
That's good.
Okay. And then under each thing, it has a description. Like this one says view, and this one says submit. And at the very bottom, for the key terms quiz, it says score at least 14. So those are the requirements for this module. And so the way I set those requirements is I went into the 3 dots and I selected edit. Now that's also where you would change the name if you wanted to name the module something different or put a date in. Something you can do is you can lock the module until a certain time. You might have those go-getters who want to do everything for the week Sunday night so that they don't have to do anything during the week and you don't want them to, you can lock it. Prerequisites would be that they have to complete a different module before they can do this module. So to add a prerequisite, you click there and you select the module. So if I wanted them to finish their science before they went on to their social science, I would select that. But requirements is what I'm going to talk about today a little bit more. So you can have this, if you click the students must complete all of these requirements, you can decide whether you want them to do it in sequential order or not. I did for the sake of this example. And then each of the items in the module show up and I choose. So when I click add a requirement, I then choose which of the items in the module I want to use. And then I can select view the item, submit the assignment, score at least. And if it's not a quiz, if it's an activity, you also have the option to mark as done. And so those are options that you can use. And I'm going to get rid of that one. And so by setting those, now the students are going to have to work through all of those in order to get through to the end. And the best part is for the students, it really keeps them organized. So I'm going to go to student view really quickly. And if we scroll down to that module, you can see Weekly agenda is not grayed out because they have to do it first. And once they click on weekly agenda and view it, then Monday's Geography of Japan activity is going to become available for them to do, and so on and so forth. So they'll move through it. It's sort of like a to-do list for them. And our lights keep turning out because we don't move enough in the room. Sorry. And so this is going to allow them to see what they need to do. One thing I wanted to just point out is this minus sign here means that the assignment's overdue. I have just random dates in there, so most of these assignments are overdue, but that's something to see. And then the coolest part, in my opinion, is up here where it says View Progress. When you click on View Progress, you're going to have all your students show up here. We only have one student in this class. It's my pretend son. And he, well, he's my real son. He's really my son, but he's a pretend student. He's going to be 30 next month. So he's, but anyhow, he's in the class. And so I've selected him. And it's going to show me his progress. So student resources, if the requirement was to view them all, he's complete. He did that. It says complete. For this progress, for this module about Japan, it's in progress, and it shows me what he still has yet to do. So remember I said one of the weaknesses was a student might get stuck. So if I see on Wednesday he's still on an activity that should have done on Monday, I now know, okay, he's not going to be able to progress till I support him and give him a little bit of extra help on this activity before he moves on to the other activities. And then if there were other students in the class, I could click their names and their progress would show up. And so rather than looking in your grade book, this is a quick way from the module view to see if the students have done something. And it allows you to also see if something needed to be viewed, which is not going to be in your grade book. So that is our section on prerequisites and requirements. I can't see everybody else's faces, but Noreen was smiling. Any questions or comments about that? No? Okay. So then, I did have a demo slide. I forgot.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, now we have time to practice. So apply your learning. There's a couple of things here. Well, four choices. Yeah, you do it. So for this choice board, during this time for about 10 minutes, I want you to practice in one of either your sandbox or your course, and practice creating a module and moving it around. Practice, adding a different text headers. Share a module. You can share it with Julia and I, or share it with somebody else, or you can share it into your sandbox or a different course. Create a fake module, practice adding requirements and see what that looks like. And then Julia and I are also here if you have a new question. And then what Julia is going to do right now as well is she's going to add a link in the chat box about how to use mastery paths. That's sort of the module master level. And so it's about a 5-minute video.
It would take an entire hour for me to teach you how to use mastery paths. And if there's an interest, then we'll do another workshop on mastery paths. But in case you were a master module user, we wanted to be able to give you something else to see and think about. So that link's in the chat if you want to check it out.
So we'll take about 10 minutes, a little more or less, depending, since we're a small group today. So just please type done in the chat box when you're done. And we have a small group, so you can unmute and ask a question while you're working if you want to ask us something. And then we'll end with our attendance.